Welcome back to Get Real. This is your host, Erin Thomason, here with Kevin Coleman and Sherri Tammelin from Coldwell Banker. Welcome, Sherri.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. So glad you could come today. We've been trying to get you in here for a while. You're kind of hard to get. You work at the Coldwell Banker in Leominster. And you mentioned today that you want to dispel the myth that new construction is stressful. So you said that you just built your own house in 2019. So tell us about that.
Oh, sure. 2019 was a huge year for me. It was actually a terrific year for my career, but on the personal level was also the new construction of my home. First time I ever did new construction. I've helped buyers going through the new construction process, but this was the first time where I was actually the buyer, and I was a difficult buyer.
Yeah.
So, the process itself, I think the most stressful part was the selections, just because you want to make sure what you're
like colors
envisioning.
And finishes.
Right.
Mean? Yeah.
Right. You don't want to mess that up,
Right.
So, I wanted to be a little bit different, but then you're afraid of being too trendy and then phasing that out. But the end product was absolutely, it's absolutely stunning. We love it. And the process was pretty easy. And I work for the builder now that built my house. And I've been enjoying helping other buyers go through this same process and basically build their dream home.
Yeah, talk about a testimonial. You can literally say that you did the very same thing. So that's great. So I think that you actually said it was a fantastic experience.
It was.
So I want to hear what made it different, I think, from, what you generally hear about. Because I personally feel like I hear so many horror stories about new construction. I think, Kevin, you mentioned that you kind of had a little bit of a tough time with yours.
I just think you need to know what you're getting into, and a lot of times, if you hadn't done this before, you don't know what to expect, and it becomes a very scary process for some.
Yeah. So tell us why was yours a great experience, and what might make it a difficult experience if someone doesn't know what to look for?
Sure. I feel like buying a house, whether you're building it or not, can be a scary experience.
Oh, definitely.
And first-time home buyer, first-time home builder. It's the same idea. You're just navigating an area that you don't have any kind of experience with.
Right.
In this particular case, and in what I do with my job, is I'm working with a builder who owns the land, and you are not doing a new construction loan. This is conventional financing, or even VAs. That you can bring in VA financing.
Okay.
And you're just buying a product that you helped produce.
Right.
And and this is basically taking your vision, your ideas, and creating your dream home. So in our case, we basically took the builder's spec house, their plans, and I took white out to them, and
sure they loved that.
I moved windows, I moved rooms, I put my kitchen where the family room was supposed to be, and I sat down with this builder, and there were some things that I was putting down on paper that they were looking at me cross-eyed and wondering where I came up with this idea. Yeah. And in those cases, I probably did need the expert to tell me to just tone it down a little bit. Yeah. But otherwise, they actually were pretty excited to do something that was a little bit different, and put together this idea. But just because they have a plan doesn't mean you have to follow it.
Right.
It's your home. Build what you want.
Yeah.
And if you're doing new construction, you should be creating your dream and not trying to fulfill the dream of the builder.
Right. Because that's probably pretty generic to try and reach more people. Yeah. So you start by finding a lot that you like, and then take a look at what they have for plans, or what kind of plans might fit that lot.
Well, in my particular case, it was listed as a house for sale, even though the house hadn't been built.
Okay.
And that's the work that I do for this builder. The same idea. However, if you as a buyer know of a lot that is available, this builder will buy the lot for you and build your house for you so that you still can go with conventional financing and not a new construction loan. We did that this year for one of my clients, and she ended up with a beautiful home that was right near her parents, which was her goal.
Yeah.
So
that makes it easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So it does not have to be scary. It does not have to be stressful. You just work with people, communicate, and put your dreams down on paper.
Sure. So talk to me about different levels of finishes and negotiating all of that. And, is it really a fixed price because it's new construction, or, sometimes is there some wiggle room? How do you approach that as a new buyer?
Well, I think with any situation, everything's up for negotiations. And typically with new construction, there's not as much flexibility on the price because obviously the builder has their costs involved, and there needs to be some profit. Otherwise, why are they doing this?
Right.
But I think you can't be afraid to ask the question and find out what the answer is going to be, and that's where your agent's going to help you.
Right. Okay. So your island.
Yes.
Yeah. It's how big now? It's the size of the Atlantic.
So, yes. My kitchen that I put in my family room has a 6x8 island. We call it a continent.
Yeah.
And we've joked around about the fact that you can't reach across to clean it. You actually have to walk around it to get it clean.
Yeah. Right.
It's amazing. It's so beautiful.
So do you have seating all around it?
We have seating on two sides.
Okay.
And, we have cabinets under it,
Okay, yeah.
So we eat all our meals there. I have a table, a dining room table, but we used that for Christmas and Thanksgiving. Otherwise, we were sitting at the island, and we've entertained. So a lot of times when you're doing like a buffet style for entertaining or a bunch of appetizers, then using the island, it's easy to just sort of create this entertainment sanctuary.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of how we live nowadays. I mean, I know for me, my living room might as well just not even exist because literally no one will go in there. Everyone's around the island in the kitchen and around the dining room table, which is right next to it. So I just need like a kitchen the whole size of my house and we'd be all set. But my couches, no, they're good. They're going to stick around for another 50 years because no one ever sits in them.
Well, we say we built a kitchen that has a house attached to it. So that was our focal point. Everyone has their own needs. We just got done with a house where it was all about the garage. Whatever it is.
But Sherri, in this environment where you're now working with a builder and kind of coaching buyers through this process, did you find that where the real estate market is very tight and there's not a ton of supply out there, that this may be a great option for some new buyers where it's something they might not have thought of and they just can't seem to find a house that actually building where there's not a lot of inventory out there may be the way to go?
Oh, absolutely. The inventory shortage is actually a huge concern. It's what's made this a seller's market. And it makes it more difficult for buyers to find that house that meets all of their needs. So they end up compromising for existing inventory. And I don't want to imply that, hey, if you need to sell your house, sell your house. But what if you're a seller who now in turn wants to buy? And that can also be very stressful because you're trying to line up that next property and the inventory does not exist. So why not build it?
Yeah. And then you're in control of the process.
You absolutely are. And, and depending on who you're working with the builder, the builder that built my house just happens to have, this huge supply of subs that they work with. The process was pretty streamlined and very organized and quick.
Yeah.
So, and that I think is also helpful because you don't want to be tied into something that's going to take a year to build.
Right.
And, now you've sold your house and where are you going?
How quickly was your house built?
In 8 weeks.
Wow.
So,
whoa.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. When they told me that, I said, "Oh, what are we going to end up with?"
Wow, yeah.
And we were there because we were annoying. I think I said that. I am the worst buyer, but I'm a great buyer's agent.
There you go.
But we were there almost daily. We actually had gone on a cruise, and while I was away, I sent my sister over to take pictures, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
wanted to know
Go
what was
babysit the
going on.
house.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
and the crew got used to us showing up. We
Yeah.
tried to go at the end of the day so we weren't in their way, but there were always people there, and there would be multiple crews. It wouldn't
Yeah.
just be sitting around waiting for the next sub to show up for a week or two. There was a constant flow of activity. So it was exciting.
So any buyer that you bring to the builder, the builder is going to be thrilled because they're not as difficult as you.
Right.
Right.
I broke them.
So
I broke
there
them.
you go. So Sherri's broken them in for you. So you can go have a great experience too. So you had mentioned before that maybe you had a fun story to share with us. We kind of like to get like the blooper reel or the highlights of recent history. So share with us something that that's going to make us laugh.
Well, in preparing for the show, you did tell me to come up with a story.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're in this business, we have stories all the time.
Yeah.
Every situation is unique.
Right.
But one of my fun stories has to do with a client that I was working with, 72-year-old woman.
Okay.
Who was she still is in fantastic shape. Just
Okay.
And she was very particular about going out. We were looking at townhouses, going out on the balcony. She wanted to see if it looked like it gets a lot of sun back there. And we were looking in the wintertime, so it's a little cold. So we stepped out on the balcony, closed the door, and we're looking around to see, is there moss or whatever. And no, she liked it. We were good. Went to go back in. The door was locked.
Uh-oh.
So never trust a door when you step outside.
And it was cold?
And it was freezing. And she says, listen, I think that I can climb down. I
What?
said, you're not going to scale the wall on my wall. But
But she was in great shape.
I was going to say, if one of us was going to scale it was going to be her, not me. And so, well, fortunately, I had my phone on me. So I ended up calling my office. And the realtor who answered the phone, I said, oh my gosh, can you help me? Can you come in and get us? And so that person said, yes, but my shift, because they were covering phones, doesn't end for 15 minutes. And then I will come and you're going to come and wait 15 minutes to come and get me?
Yeah.
So now this 100-year-old woman that I'm standing with, I had to make her a little bit older for
so that you could yell.
So that agent did end up leaving right away to
Okay,
rescue
I'm sure
us.
she did.
But since that moment, I always check the door.
Yes.
We do not get locked out again.
Oh, man. That's crazy. Of course, right? It would be me, I think. So we've had a little bit of debate before we started recording about, maybe a shift in market or not a shift in market. And it sounds like you have some strong feelings about what's going on. So share with us what you think we're dealing with.
Well, again, it's the shortage of inventory.
Right.
Definitely a seller's market. There are buyers out there. This is January, and I'm still seeing a lot of activity at open houses.
I know. I feel
January.
like there wasn't really a slowdown the way we've had in years past.
No, well, interest rates they're
right.
they're so great right now, and I think that buyer confidence is up. It's really a good time to buy if you can find the house.
Right, and if you can't. Build it.
I
mean, I think that's it's a good, that's not something that I realized, that if you could kind of roll it all together with the builder, that it could be a conventional loan versus a new construction loan. Because I think that sometimes that's a little bit, more complicated because there's different steps to that process. So, as a non-expert, that kind of puts me a little bit at ease. So maybe that will be the case for some other buyers that are considering that. Because that wasn't something that I considered when we bought our house, because I really did think that it was going to be a nightmare and I didn't want to deal with it. And I thought it would take too long. We bought quickly because we were expecting our 4th child and we needed more room. So we thought if we were going to do construction, it's going to take a year and it's going to come later and we're going to be stressed out picking out, carpet while I'm giving birth. Mm-hmm. So we didn't do it. But had I known, maybe we would have had something different. So that's important, I think, for everybody to understand all their options.
Absolutely.
And to, use somebody that's not only been there, but literally been there if they come, and use the same builder as you.
I agree. And I did not mention this before, but Coldwell Banker has a new program called Real Vitalize.
Okay.
And this would be for sellers who want to fix out their home to make it obviously more buyer friendly, but also to get more of a return on their investment. And it's an opportunity for sellers to meet with a Coldwell Banker realtor, and let Coldwell Banker help you get your house ready. So do repairs, freshen it up, do some updates, and then put it on the market.
Wow.
So now you can do that, and you're actually financially supported by Coldwell Banker.
Wow.
That
fantastic.
When you go to obviously sell, then Coldwell Banker gets repaid for that.
Right.
But the program is fairly new.
Okay.
And, so we're kind of learning as we go, but it's Real Vitalize is what it's called.
Real Vitalize.
And I'm excited. I actually have a couple of friends who are thinking of selling in 2020, and they have some home projects they want to work on, and we're going to look into this.
Yeah, I think that's huge. Now, are there kind of some general parameters, or is that something that's really case by case?
So yes and yes.
Okay. Always.
Always. Nothing structural. So, we can take care of, putting in a new kitchen.
Okay.
But if your basement is, foundation is crumbling, perhaps we're not the people for you.
But if we're talking maybe like flooring, or what about windows,
right.
things like that?
Yep.
Because that's huge, I think.
Painting. Sometimes, get that wallpaper down, get some paint on, just giving it a fresh look.
Or exterior maybe, so that you can qualify for some different
FHA financing.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. And when you're done, it's going to make your house sell faster, and it's going to hopefully be selling it for more money than it would have if you didn't do the work.
What a great idea. I know so often people just, they don't necessarily have the ability to take what they consider to be a gamble to make an improvement on the front side of the transaction. So I think that's a great idea to make things a lot easier on everyone.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people that are thinking about selling. They're probably putting off some of those projects because, obviously there's a financial commitment to it.
Sure.
And we're going to go back to that shortage of inventory, and maybe they ought to be working on those projects right away and getting their house on the market sooner than later, so that they, obviously if they're on the market now, when there's not as much competition out there, then they have a better chance of selling, quick and for top dollar.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, we're out of time. If anybody is looking for representation to sell or buy in the North Central area, call Sherri Tammelin with Coldwell Banker in Leominster. Her number is 978-587-5463. It sounds like she's especially experienced with new construction, and ask her about the new program with Coldwell Banker, Real Vitalize. Sherri, thank you again for being here with us. We so appreciate that. Kevin, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having
me. And we'll be back after this with more Get Real.